Alrighty then, let's see what we've got here. Yes, here I am, David from Fertile Pixel. Let's get that phone camera off. Phone light off. Yes, I was a little late. And yes, it was because I was making my cup of tea. It took me longer than usual for some reason. No, actually, it was because saving my knees. The cartilage in them just, well, I use them too much. So, they didn't come with a manual, so I didn't get the instruction of, like, you're not supposed to, like, use your knees very much. Apparently. Otherwise they wear out. So now I've got to let some cartilage heal and grow back. Which means I go a lot slower. I borrowed a wheelchair off someone and still getting the hang of getting around with it, but it's easier to not use your knees when you're sitting down than when you're walking around with some kind of sticks for support. Anyway, that's not game development. In fact, game development is something you can do without using your knees if you choose, unless the game that you are developing is some kind of jump rope game. Like a real life jump rope, then probably going to be a bit stuck. So last time I was working on stuff and then I ran out of time. And it was related to this item here. Let me get the magnifier going so that is visible. And also let me switch over to this scene here so it's visible as well. Okay, we've attached RoboParts to mount points as well. Let's update the text on this one. There. To making an interface for part activation now. That's what I have been working on. So yeah, basically here's Boop, example robot. Boop has some mount points here, and it looks like on the right arm there is a shield mounted. So the shield is a part, and it's on the mount point. And this is a more general way for Boop to interact with that shield without having to know anything about shields in particular. It's just the part clips on, it activates the parts, gets some basic info, and does its thing. So this is the code for robot. Here's the update. It checks if it's doing an action, which is based on the animator at this point. And then it will advance the routine to the next step. And then it has this check to see if it can perform the action. If it can, it'll start. If not, it will malfunction. If it can, it will do the action. So you should be able to replace this. So, like, here's an example of some code. The robots just shouldn't have to know this much about how particular parts work necessarily. Like here, there's a really good example here. And it shouldn't have to know any of this stuff about shields in order to make its parts work. It shouldn't even have to know that a shield is a part. It should just have to know whatever part's there. So I talk to it in whatever way. So we've got this simple activatable part, and in there I was making this interface here, which at the moment really only has this activate method. The interface is called iRoboPart. We've got this activate method, and I was looking at having a way to check with that part whether it's activatable. But I kind of decided instead of that, the robot can call activate, and then we'll just get back a status, which is one of these, whether it activated or if it didn't activate. There are sort of three different reasons. It could be on cooldown, it could be just broken, or it could be an incompatible part. So those are all, an incompatible action, meaning that the action is not relevant to that part. So basically what that means is the robot can just send an action to every part and then collate the results of that. And if it had any activateds, then that's a success. If it had all incompatible, that means it doesn't have any. Well, basically, if it didn't get any activateds, that means that something has gone on that has meant it'll just malfunction. Because either all of the parts failed, or it didn't have any compatible parts, or something else. So basically, this is all we're looking at right now. But that's all it needs to do, really, is just send this to every part, and then get back that activation status. So I haven't gone through every part and made that work on them, but let's just get the code working for the robot first. So basically, this is my to-do that I wrote last time. So we change to call activate next action on each part and only malfunction if there are no activated responses. And so I can completely remove can perform action. So basically, now there's a downside of this. There's a bit more I have to do, but basically I can get rid of that and instead do actually let's oops. I'll keep this start action method and I'll update that. And I might get this switch here, which has all of that stuff in it. I don't want to just throw it away because it might have something useful in there. So why don't I extract that to another method? And we'll call this like old start action. Oh, let's call it start action underscore old. That way it's sort of breaking from the usual naming convention, so it's clear that something's going on there. So that's got this switch statement, and it'll play the different animations. So this is the extra thing I need to work on that I was talking about. All these movement-related animations. Instead, the leg parts will need to handle moving the robot, which is their job. Move the robot around. That's the job of legs, and maybe jump packs or something at some point. I was talking about that in the last stream, so I won't go into a bunch of detail on it. So now instead of that, I'll just comment that out now, and it won't be too much of a messy thing in the way. And I might just grab exactly this to do here. And just move that. I will delete that commented out code sometime in the near future, but that's what I'm trying to do. So call that on each part. That's my first thing. Then malfunction if there are no activated responses. And if we just flip that around, on each part, call activate. So I'm going to need to collate the responses. So in my start action old, I'd do something like block, which should activate a part. It's getting shield components in children. All right. So what I actually need here is some RoboPart. So I need to get all the parts. So I'll get all those RoboPart instances in children. Now this is something that it will do not in the update loop. My apologies, got the mic a little bit there, I think. For some reason, this cup, maybe just because of the size, tends to like scrape against there. And I think make the high-pitched whining noise. I hope that doesn't carry through the mic. I've got about an hour of stream left here, so let me see if I can get the robot code updated, all the existing parts to implement iRobopart properly, and have this all working. It won't make the game any better from a playing it perspective, but it'll make it a lot quicker for me to add new parts when I get to that. So yeah, that'll be much better architecture. And I sort of started building this up as a prototype, and now I'm molding it into a bit of a more maintainable architecture, something that's going to be easier to work with and do what I need it to do. All right, so getting all my parts, and then does that ever return null? Oh, apparently Alt-O gives me... No, that's open. It's Alt... Oh, wait. I know the difference between Control and Alt, I swear. So all these GitHub examples, I don't really want examples from GitHub because that's like everybody's code. And I don't know everybody, but I do know of that, some... Oh, hey, King Zone. Oh, well. So this live stream randomly showed up in your recommendation. Well, have a watch. If you're interested in game development or C# or anything along those lines, then it might be up your alley. Well, how long ago did you send that message, by the way? Even though I've moved this to the big, to the main monitor that I use, the chat, it's, I still don't always notice messages right away, but it looks like less than a minute, so that's good. Let me, actually, I think this might be in a broken state right now, but you can go to the link in the description, which is in my itch, and see this game that I'm working on, which is about programming robots, or programming factories to make robots with particular parts on them and a particular set of commands, and then the robots will spawn with that set of commands and follow them blindly. Well, not blindly once I add some sensors in there, but they'll follow the routine. And you've basically got to try, and you can't change it once they've spawned. So you're trying to basically set them up for success out in the world, and at the moment just destroy all these opponent factories. I haven't actually done the logic for victory or defeat or anything yet, because I've been more focused in on getting this working. Yeah, I think the changes I've just made would have broken it, and I also think Visual Studio does not have any awareness of what is where the documentation is for what I'm looking for, which is just wondering whether get component in children ever returns null, because I just randomly suggested a null check here. But yeah, my task today is making a more consistent interface, which I started last time, that the robot can use to activate all of its parts. At the moment, it's a bit sort of random. It has to be aware of how every part works to activate it, and instead to keep it focused on what its job is, which is just to handle the routine steps. It should just be able to send an activate signal to parts, and shouldn't have to know anything about those parts in order to do it, other than just how to send that signal and interpret the result. So that's what I'm hoping to finish tonight rather. null if no components are found, so I do want a null check there. I could just do the null check and not check anything. Now, I don't think I want to return. I think I want to malfunction if there are no parts. And that's kind of the default animated.play malfunction. Did I just scroll up too far? Yes, I did. Way too far. I also have to deal with the fact that the fact that an animation is playing other than idle is currently how I am detecting whether, or how the robot detects whether an action is happening. But I do want that to be controlled by the parts in some way or other. It'll probably be in the update loop, just polling the parts to ask if they're playing an animation, or if they're performing an action, rather. Okay, so now I've got these parts. I think if I have this null, or well, I guess parts is not going to be empty. Okay, so we're saying on each part, do that. Now, what's the problem here? Oh, sorry, I wanted the plural method there. An array of those. And there. Now we're working. So now we've got part. And that's that. And yeah, we just want to call activate on each of those. And I do want to collect those results. I don't have to collect the results. Something activated. False. So far, nothing has activated. Okay, so now let's just say call activate on that part. That's going to give us a activation result. Oops, that is not what I wanted to do. That was very much not what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was use an explicit type. It is a part activation status. If that part result is equal to activated, then I just want to set that something activated to true. And if it gets through all of them, oh, I'm supposed to, wait, does this not take a argument? Yes, it should take an argument that is the action that I want it to take. Otherwise, what's the point? There we go. So let me just update that. Yes, add that parameter. And jump over to here. And yeah, it's there. Probably means that this is failing. But if we do that, it will pass. go. Okay, so it's by the time it's finished this, we will know what the deal is, and we basically want to do the same thing as that. Play malfunction on the animator. So if not something activated, animated.play malfunction. So the robots will malfunction if they try to do an action that they can't, and they can't do actions that are for parts that they either don't have at all, or if that part is broken. It's okay if they've got two of something, they'll activate one and the other one will be fine. I don't know if that'll be an injury thing. When they malfunction, they just sort of flash red for a little bit. Just to visually show that something's wrong. So it might be that the parts themselves show that one day. Okay, so basically the only animation that this robot now could play is malfunction, which is not amazing. All of these others, like these three here, the movement ones, they're all legitimate animations to actually do something. Whereas I think shoot, laser, and block, the animations basically are just, there's no animation there, it just waits for the right amount of time. And excuse me, then the other one is malfunction. So you want to learn game dev and haven't started yet? Okay. Yeah, there are lots of different ways to start. And you don't need a computer to do something. Like I make card games and board games as well, and have, I was going to say I have like a notepad full of ideas, but it's well beyond a notepad at this point. Very, very easy to come up with game ideas. Hard to make game ideas. A suggestion is come up with something really, really simple. Decide more or less exactly what the limit of that will be. And then when you're making it, you can try and make exactly that thing and not deviate from it at all. At least at first, because otherwise your scope can just grow and grow and you end up with something that takes a lot longer than you thought. This is a fairly simple concept, but I probably could have gone without doing anything with the parts. Could have just had a standard robot with standard actions available and just have the programming the robot aspect and get a working game around that first. Because yeah, it's probably taking me twice as long because I'm adding different parts and things like that that go a bit beyond the core concept. But this is for fun, and if I eventually get a working game out of it, fantastic. But I have a different day job just so that I can have fun with game dev without having to try and do whatever's going to make the money. Yeah. Well, let me know if you have any questions, any specific questions about learning. There are lots and lots of different ways to approach it. So I don't think I can just say what's the best thing to start with because I haven't used everything. Yeah. Oh, and that over there is where the chat is. So when I look over there, that means I'm looking at chat. If I look over here, that's where the camera is, but that's just got my preview. I did have chat even further over there, but very easy to miss things. All right, so now where are we up to here? This is the robot. It's got its old structure. So at this point, this is a bit inefficient. So at some point, I'll need to like cache these. So it shouldn't be on something that's called in update loop. It should be when the robot first spawns, perhaps. Get its list of parts so it can iterate through them. Because yeah, otherwise it'll just do this every time it's finished in action. Okay, so that's basically doing what I want. Probably just get that simpler, not simpler, but less verbose. Now, right now everything takes 1 second, so I could have, I think as a kind of hacky workaround for the short term, I'll get the robot animator, and it's pretty much just got, they're the movement ones. Shoot laser has got, or did have something in the, yeah, there is no shoot laser here anymore. Shoot laser did have something. Actually, I was going to say I can. I was going to say I can make a new one. Just maybe call this generic action. Has no motion. We'll have a transition to there, and basically it'll just be the whole point is just to wait 1 second. So pretty much just have this thing go for 1 second, no transition time, and that's it. That'll basically mean it'll be doing this for 1 second, then it'll exit, which will bring it to back to idle state, and I use that as my signal that it is not doing an action. So that's for now, but I will update that that update loop to check. This can perform action. Okay, so is doing action is really where it will change. It'll be okay, there we are. All right, so I feel like I'm going a bit slow here. It's been a long day. But anyway, let's have a look here. We've got shield activate. Yes, let's have a look at that one. So yes, this is trying to override that thing, but it hasn't got an action in there. Oh, this is good. Now it needs to actually check. So it's only relevant that it's broken if it is a relevant method. Interesting. So basically, something going on here is I've got my RoboParts here, and like here's the shield RoboPart. And so it's got its cost in metal and energy and time to build. It's also got the sprite to display it and a prefab for it. And it's also got these enabled actions. So it is this shield RoboPart that has that list of actions it can do, which is just block. Do I have a way to look up that RoboPart from this part? Interesting question. Now the robot, it has a blueprint that has those in them, in there. So do we have a part in the blueprint? Got point with a part, mount point with part, and the RoboPart is the actual RoboPart. Interesting. So that I think these need to have a particular RoboPart associated with them. Like so, this shield really needs to have a particular RoboPart, and that's interesting. I have a feeling that this is going to start to get really, well, it's already starting to feel a bit sort of tricky to pass stuff around. And that I might want to go to more of an ID system here, where each part has an ID, and then based on that ID, all of this stuff could get looked up. And then these just need to go somewhere. Right now I don't have a way to look up the RoboPart based on something. Let's see, simple activatable part is what? It is a mono behavior. So I could just attach the relevant RoboPart to the part. So like it's all in here. So basically this shield here, that script. If I look at the shield prefab here, it's got the shield script, and I could just pop it in there. So I'll do that. Make a serialized field. Why is that not working as I would expect? Serialized fields everywhere. Serialized field. And actually, I guess a simple activatable part, that's the level that I probably want to do that at. It's got the animator, But I'll also give it an actual RoboPart. So that is the RoboPart that this represents. Or the it's like both the parts, the sort of config object for the part, and this is the instance script for the part, and the instance object for the part, and its animations. Anyway, okay, so now that has a RoboPart, and it's private. Do we want to make it like protected or internal? Let's make it available here. So now we've got RoboPart. So now we're just checking if that action is contained in there. Oh, hi, Newman. How long ago did that message come in? 3 minutes. I think I need to sit further this way for starters. I think that might be the problem. Too far out of my line of sight. Yeah, pretty much. Right now it's just a prototype. The ostensible goal is to try to get all of these factories destroyed. You can actually select them and control them, since I haven't got as far as actually making them be controlled by an AI or anything. But yeah, that's basically where it's at now. All right, so let's see if it can. Yeah, so I'll actually do the inverse of this. So because then I'll just make it a guard clause and exit from here. So if it doesn't actually have that, then we can return incompatible, meaning that action is not compatible with this part, and that'll be the end of it. Now, at that point, now we know it's compatible. And so now, if that shield is broken, we'll return a failure. And I guess otherwise it'll return base to activate, which is to play the activate animation and return activated. Now, that's probably a very generic thing that could work on all of them. So I might just copy that into this simple activatable part. So we don't necessarily need to do that in shield. Ah, jeez. I don't care about my Dropbox being almost full. Well, I kind of care, but not enough to do anything about it. Okay. Don't like having like so many curly braces when it could just be a lot more concise or terse, maybe. Easier to read anyway. Okay, so basically I don't really need this here necessarily. But I do want to make sure that I'm handling this broken state. Yeah, I wonder, maybe I can make a, if it's compatible, then it can maybe have a check in here. I'm thinking with a virtual method. Just a Boolean. I have like one cooldown. Which won't be by default. And I have another one. Broken. Again, return false. So default implementation, they're not broken, they're on cooldown. And then here we can just, just make that a bit more compact. Excuse me. So I'm just adding this. If it's on cooldown, then it can. So after this, because we've guarded against incompatible actions, we know it's a compatible action. But now we're dealing with if it is compatible, but it's on cooldown, then we'll just give back a not ready. And if it is broken, then we'll return that failure. And then otherwise it's going to play. Okay, so now our shield can actually just use that. And we don't actually need to do anything. We don't even need to provide that implementation because it's already handled. But what we do need to do is make this override that virtual one here. And now we'll actually return whether it's broken, and this will then potentially hit that case there. So we don't need sort of the special shieldy things here. All we need is to be able to tell if that part is broken, and we need link here. Don't think we need Hindi engine either. Okay, so that shield should now be able to communicate through that interface using this implementation plus its own broken implementation. It sounds like the implementation's broken, but it's pretty good. And did I do the thing in the robot I was going to do where I was just going to have it? I'm actually using link for something. I was just going to. Okay, it's not called is broken anymore. It's just called broken, and it's also protected, so you can't do that. And that's actually broken my broken this bit of code that checks if the shields are broken or not. But I don't think we actually need this anymore anyway. This is can perform action, and that is exactly the one I was talking about, just getting rid of. Yeah, so it's commented out there. Now the whole implementation is commented out because it's got an error, compile error in it. So now we've got our start action that is going to get every part. If it doesn't find any little malfunction, otherwise it'll just try to activate every part, and then detect if any of those parts actually were able to activate. And if not, it's going to malfunction. So what I haven't got it doing here is just having it like play something else. And that'll basically just be wait 1 second. And I made that over here before, didn't I? Generic action. And yeah, that's literally just to make it wait. And do I have an invert conditional refactor? Invert if. Yep, that's much better. Much better to say if something happened than if not something happened. Because every level of not makes it more confusing. Oh, cool. Yeah. I wouldn't expect it to be free of errors at this point because it's prototype, but if you let me know what that error is, I can check if that's an actual legitimate one, because I don't expect any errors in particular here. Like the code itself, unless I've done something particularly wrong, shouldn't have any errors. I think even if the factories are all destroyed, they're still I say shouldn't. I've tried not to have any errors, but yeah, might be useful to know, because it might be something that's a legitimate thing that needs fixing. I don't know how much detail it gives you about the error in that context, though. Like I get very specific errors here, including this one, which is completely irrelevant, which is annoying, and these which kind of don't matter, but this one. Aha. So let's block. So this is what I'm getting rid of. Things that cool, yeah. If you're up for having a go, getting the error. And yeah, that's always, sometimes it's really simple, sometimes it's just who knows what. But they usually go on the list somewhere and get fixed at some point. Yeah, so I think shield.activate's not really callable without an action now. So we can't just do block. There we go, so that's kind of broken, but it also kind of doesn't matter because I shouldn't be calling that anymore. And in fact, it's only called in here. And I'm not calling that anymore at the moment. All right, so now that should make it wait while it tells the part to do the action. I don't know if we'll be able to run yet, but I'll give it a try. Basically, because I have not got all of the parts turned into iRobopart or implementing the iRobopart interface. So yeah, you can see something's very broken here. Just pause that. So just stop that. There's no way it's going to actually run here. And that is, of course, RoboPart is this serialized field. And my shield. Yeah, that one there. Look at that. None. No RoboPart at all. So I need to put that there. Otherwise, it'll be broken. And, well, lasers probably won't work because they're not using that interface. But shields may. Oh, cool. This thing's just coming out of malfunction because all it does is walk forward. And I haven't got that programmed yet. Do any of these have block actions? Oh, you've got a block. Yep. So, block. Oh, and they're piling up, of course. So there's a difference here between what's showing up red and blue versus what's not. How we? Oh, got exploded. Just got to wait for a new one to spawn. There. Wait, where did the block go? There. It's the second factory from the bottom. So that's a legitimate malfunction here. And then this one here is just because I haven't got the laser wired up. So that goes like that when the robot that was selected gets destroyed, which is happening because they're running into each other. So that's a lot of red, which is nice temporarily, because then when I fix it, I feel like I've done something. So all I really need to do is get the laser gun. Oh, look at that. Interface for fireable things, perhaps. Could do. Anyway, this is going to be an iRobo part. Now, could this be a simple activatable part? Oh, it could be, I think. Because when it gets activated, this would be activate. I just need to rename that shoot animation to be called activate. And then that its particular animation would just need to call this here, which is what it already does. So if I just go to this laser gun here and yeah, instead of mono behavior, let's have it inherit from simple activatable part. So it won't need its own animator. This component won't, because it's just relying on the simple activatable part. Oh, we got this problem with is enemy. So this is to get the laser beam onto the right layer, depending on whether it's a friendly or an enemy, so that the lasers will not do friendly fire, so they'll just hit what they're supposed to. So it means we'll be missing this is enemy, because activate doesn't have is enemy on it. Fire laser does. So basically we need a way to set is enemy on this part. And I guess pretty much any part would need to know, like could need to know. So it knows what to hit if there was something that had like a targeting system or something like that. So I think the way that I'll approach that at this point is get action and actually just pass that. Can I make that optional? Optional argument. What's this question? Why are C# optional parameters defined on interface not enforced on implementing class? That makes sense to me. But anyway, this probably has an example. Bool flag is false. Yeah, I mean, looks like pretty much just giving it a default value. It's fine. So if they don't care about it, to do that, to make it annullable, that way you just don't know. Oh, how did the weekend go? How did it go? It went away really quickly. But yeah, got to visit some family and do a bunch of cleaning while trying to look after people. It was exhausting, actually, if I think about it. Pretty exhausting. I'm just going to zoom that out a little bit because I'm not fitting all the code in there. So now I've got this optional is enemy, which means that on simple activatable part, really? I'm pretty sure that would make it nullable, but yeah, it does. Doesn't it? Oh, here's the thing. Whatever's calling this interface, it needs to pass that in. Because the robot shouldn't need to know whether or not this part cares about his enemy. So I will keep that like that. And everything can just ignore it if it's not relevant to them. So pretty much that doesn't care about his enemy because it's not really doing anything. But now if we get into this laser gun and we've got this is enemy, then we can have activate. Override the other activate. And that action type in there. Robot actions. So now we've got our action. And all we're going to do is that, and then comment this out. Just make sure I've got it for reference to remind me. And just, that's all we're doing. We're just capturing his enemy and then calling the base. And we need to return the result of that. Otherwise, we don't have any return value, right? Return type must be part activation status. Should now be. Oh, right. Of course. Yes, I did not make it return this when I changed it from the old shoot laser thing. All right, so now we just got to go to its animator. Better select laser gun. And it's a simple activatable part now. But I think we haven't compiled at this point because of whatever this error is. Yes, because something else is trying to call that old fire laser. But that's fine. So we should be able to go look in animator. We've got this called shoot. So if I just change that to activate, then that should be compatible with this. So that should be all good. Now let's go to that error and deal with that. So this is in fire laser. And I'm going to just do the same thing as there. Just going to comment it out because we're phasing that out. It's doing it a different way. And here we are, look. That is missing this enemy that we have just set up. That was probably that error just there. Yes, line 134. Now, that might be enough to get that laser working. None of the legs will work. The simple legs or the budget legs. Did I say simple? Standard legs. Okay. By the way, moving from the factory to here, the reason why that works. Oh, okay. Pretty sure I know what that is. I think I forgot to put the prefab on there. Yes, it's the same place, simple activatable part. Maybe I should have it generate an error earlier in that process. Here we go. So now we need the RoboPart right there. So here's our RoboPart. There we go. Let's see how that looks. Specifically, let's see how many errors we get. There's something with the laser. This one up here should have a laser. That one might. That's got a laser. Yeah, it's firing the laser. So moving, no. Firing laser, yes. Have lasers spawning. Is there a double laser somewhere? This is a double shield one. Let's just make these double laser instead. So we can have them, we'll just have them maybe just shoot laser. Okay, that one just blew up the other one. Just interested to see this working and then figure out how to get the parts to move the robot. Okay, yes, double lasering. Pew pew, pew pew. I should add some sound effects. Just need to record myself going pew, and then play that and see how long it takes before it drives me mad. Good question. Do I play games? If yes, which ones? I used to play games a lot, and now basically the amount of free time I have, I can choose between playing games or making games. So to answer your question, yes, I can't really stop playing games. Most of the time it's little games on my phone that I can do in between stuff. I've been playing Hero Park a bit lately, which looks a bit like that. That doesn't show it very well, does it? It's basically managing a little town that's pretty much just a tourist trap for adventurers. You make the dungeons, make all the monsters to put in there, set them up to get your town the most reputation, but also you upgrade your monsters in various ways. So, at the moment, I'm making a bunch of zombies that maximize the chance of spreading disease to the adventurers when they're in the dungeon, and some gargoyles that have an increased chance of causing bone fractures, and some fire demons that they're just regular fire demons that can cause burns. Because then the adventurers will go and spend money at your healing building. And so, yeah, you pretty much just have a bunch of things that are trying to get them to spend more money by doing other things, like selling them weapons that are cursed and will break, so that then they'll come back and buy another one, and various things like that. So, yeah, I tend to just play something until I run out of levels on it or get bored of it, or but yeah, that was pretty good. There was some I was playing a little while ago, tiny room puzzles. There are a few games. There's one that's kind of a consistent storyline, another one that's sort of sets of 10 rooms. I think it's called something like 50 Tiny Rooms, but it only had like 20 or 30. They hadn't released the rest. I haven't checked back yet whether they have added more, but that's like an escape room type of thing. Which I guess is also like an adventure game type of thing, because they have similar mechanics. Figuring out what particular combination of things will work. I'm running a bit low on time, so what will I do here? And what am I logging here? This is some logging that I'm pretty sure I don't need anymore. Interesting. Anyway, and this non-drop. Good habit to clean up logging that you notice if it's not, it's just getting in the way, not helping you with what you're doing. Okay. But I was just going to go find my legs. I don't think but I think I have parts for the legs. Well, that's the RoboParts. It's like the config. I've got part prefabs. Yeah. So there are my legs, my different types of legs. And so here I've started pairing them. So yeah, I might just create a folder here for, let's do the budget legs first, because then we might get to see that sooner. Move that there. And look at my part prefabs, grab the budget legs there. And now pretty much probably I might try and just make a generic legs script to start with. And see if I can use the same legs script with different things. By just dragging a different RoboPart into the prefab. I'll put it in here. Okay, so we don't want this to be a mono behavior. We want it to be a simple activatable part. Oh, and by the way, at the moment I don't have any memory of what I was just about to say. What was I about to say? What was I going to say? It was something related to the parts and so on. Yeah, it's not that game, by the way, not too different from conceptually to one that I want to make. Similar kind of fantasy theme with adventurers coming along. Actually, very similar in that, well, in the game you also have a unicorn, and you send the unicorn off to attract adventurers to the town, so they'll come and spend money. That's different from what I want to make, whereas you play as a character, but you're the lord of a particular chunk of land, which happens to be the bit where all of the adventurers go. Like, it's adjacent to the sort of dangerous wild area where they will go adventuring, looking for treasure and glory and what have you. And so it's sort of the waypoint on the way to there, so they'll potentially get equipment and supplies on the way off on adventures, and then on the way back they might have a bunch of treasure and need healing and need somewhere to spend all of that. But you'll have NPCs move in to places that you build or have commissioned to build, and they pay you rent, and you try and sort of keep everyone happy, and you can have your own sort of shops and things that you run. But mainly you set everything up and then collect the rent and have to repair things. But a lot more sort of RPG and interacting systems where it's all simulated people. Kind of that game meets RimWorld, but not maybe not quite the level of simulation depth as RimWorld, although that might not be true as far as what kind of things I've been thinking of. But I think more sort of coherent storylines than RimWorld. RimWorld tends to be fairly random. And there's some weird ways that things work in RimWorld, like just the way that timing of events and things work, and that there we go. Oh no, you did it from two different usernames. You've given yourself away. We know you're some kind of bot now. That seems like, yeah, that's usually a sign that I'm probably almost running out of time when I get the Twitch viewer selling spam. Or similar. Right, so these are a simple activatable part, and they need to have an activate. I'll override activate. Let's see, they're not going to be able to break or be on cooldown, I believe. So don't need to override the others, but okay, so they can have an activate animation. Problem is if we animate some legs, that's going to move the legs off the robot. But I have been thinking of changing the robot's movement. To do something else. For now, a really hacky way I could do it is, and I think I'll need to get a reference to the robot in the part here, is to basically run an animation in the robot. Man, I should have hit the mute button then. Sorry about that. So, pretty hacky because it means any type of movement has to be like animated on the thing, and there's some kind of problem right now with the movement animations, with the turn animation on the robot. Sometimes they'll go not 90 degrees, they'll go like less than 90 usually. I'm not sure what's causing that. It doesn't seem to happen consistently. But I'll let me think on that a moment. Let me look at the robot here. So when the robot is going to do some kind of a walk, that is collapsed at the moment, isn't it? Let's see here. So it means it'll be doing a play that, but I don't want to play generic action and do some kind of movement. Because if this one of these gets called, one of these guys, then that's going to be a problem. Oh, I thought of another hacky way to do that. What I can do is just to kind of get the movement working for now. Just say movement related actions. Not yet implemented. Oh, hey, Maripon, you're here. The robots are going okay today, sort of, except that they don't move anymore. They can shoot and block, because I've been messing with how all of that's configured. And I'm just going to try and quickly get that working, because I need to finish up pretty soon. And I haven't quite decided how I'm going to make the legs move the robot. But yeah, I don't know if I want to do it quite that way. Just going to implement like is movement for an action. So oops. There we go. So if it is a movement, then we'll let's just call start action old. All right, of course. Too many brackets there. Else, I don't know why hitting tab on else did that. I don't know why hitting space on else would do that. What are you doing? Yeah. There we go. So we'll play that generic action, which just basically means wait a second so that an action can happen. And we'll still do the malfunction if we didn't activate anything. And so that sort of solves that thing where now, as long as we've got that there, they don't need to do anything, except we don't want to do any of these things anymore. And there, so pretty much just still let it fall through to malfunction if nothing happens. But that'll mean that we still get our movement, even though it's not actually happening as a result of calling this activate. So I'll just grab my legs script here and probably say to do but it's still doing movement itself. Take over that instead. I think I need to review the whole way that movement is working, not have it be just controlled by the animator. I did break them, but it's for their own good. You know, you can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs. And in this case, Well, it's only broken because I'm halfway through doing it. I'm giving them an upgrade. Basically making it so I can make other types of legs and so on much more easily. Although I haven't actually put the legs script on either. So yeah, every time they try and move, malfunction. So that's still not doing what it should do. But I'll grab these budget legs. I'll make it into a legs. Oh yeah, it's not actually finding the part because now it's looking for them by this interface here, which I probably should pull out into its own file. It deserves it. Okay, so now I've got legs, and I need to give it the robo part so it knows what robo part it should have. And oh, actually, if this does not have an animator, then simple activatable part might not be the right fit. So this is pretty much. I think I'll just make it fine to not have that animator. Like, just oops, been writing too much TypeScript. There. So just if you've got one, play activate. Otherwise, don't worry about it. I think that's fine. Just makes this a bit more reusable. What am I using link for? Because I didn't mean to. Just for that enabled actions. Okay. That's fine. Link is kind of, I think, a bit slow to execute, so sometimes you need to watch out with it, but I probably shouldn't worry too much about that. It's premature optimization to worry about that. So now the budget legs might work, but I should be able to put that same legs script on the standard legs and have them work as long as I configure them properly. And that might be the last thing I do on stream, on this stream. I mean, I'll do other things on the future one. There we go. That was why I was doing the budget legs first, because these spawn super fast because they just have the cheapest legs. Okay, but these, on the other hand, every time they try and walk, not working. So let's fix standard legs. Now, got prefabs. I've got standard legs here, and I got RoboParts here. I'll make this its own folder here, and standard legs can go in here, and its prefab can also go in there. And then I think I might actually make a. Do I want to make a directory for legs? Don't know. I think I might just grab this legs script and pop it out here, because then it is used in multiple places. So it will be shared. Or I could just make like a legs directory. Okay, so I'll just grab that legs, put it on there, and just grab the correct robo part onto there. And that should be all good. I possibly, maybe, oh no, I needed to, I was going to say I maybe didn't have to stop the game running to do that, but I did have to attach the script. So actually, yeah, maybe I still didn't. Let's see if we get something else moving. Ha! This one's got a malfunction. But that is, yeah, it hasn't got the right kind of legs to turn left, so that's on purpose to test that system malfunction. Oh, this guy's got a malfunction because he can't fire a laser. You've got 2 shields and you're not even using them. That's not very satisfying. Let's have you do some blocking. and sort of shield bash your opponent. So there we go. I broke them and then I got them working. Very productive. If I did that on every stream, I would end up with exactly the same game and different code every single time. Okay, hit him with the shields. Yes, that worked. I'm just watching this one here, by the way. Okay, got a bit blown up there. There you go with that blocking. No, still got lasered. The laser beam might be up a bit high. This guy's got one shield left. Wait, is it? It was like moving and blocking at the same time. Unless I was just, I'm going to look up here because on the magnifier it doesn't necessarily. Oh yeah, no, it's like, that's a weird bug. I mean, to these guys, it's definitely a feature. So it seems like when a part is destroyed, so they're doing it's like it's not taking any time for the animation. What am I doing? I can actually view that over here. So unpause, look on my scene view, grab one of these guys, grab something here, there. Got the robot. And what I want is its animator here. So we've got a walk forward happening. On this one, I kind of need to wait until one of them has a shield destroyed. The shield is still intact. They could do like 2 more blocks. That would get the shields more working, more broken. I don't know how these are going to go. I think I need to make these ones more lasery to shoot the shields, maybe? Or just make them budget like kamikazes. Well, they don't need such expensive legs, so that'll speed them up. And if they're not using the shield, then don't worry about that. Maybe double lasers. Although that factory's a bit low on energy. Maybe not so much of that. Okay, let's see. Well, that has destroyed. Yeah, double lasers destroys a shield. Let me get another one of those going. It's really hard to see when that's selected. The thingy. Let me get rid of that movement and get them to move just here. Oh, okay. We have a destroyed shield now on this one. Okay, so it's doing walk forward. And I'm just going to have a little hope that it doesn't get exploded by those lasers. Okay, walk forward animation should be finished. Okay, it's gone to idle. So that means, oh, okay, it is doing a block animation, but I saw the idle animation going. So it's doing block, but so what that tells me probably, just have a look at that robot code in start action here. Part activation status to activated, something activated equals true. If it is movement, forward or turn left. So that should be false. So we should be doing animated.play generic action. But it didn't. You just check the settings here. Exit time 1. So that's unexpected, but it looks like it's not playing malfunction. It looks like it's just going straight to idle. So maybe this start action old, that action. Which should be one of these movement actions. So let's just walk forward. Oh, also we've got is doing action. So that's where it's checking for idle. And whether it's playing. But it's not surprising, given that this was idle, that it would do that. That looks like that. Yes, 1, yes, 0, 0, none. This one, yes, 1, yes, 0, 0, none. No reason to think that that wouldn't happen. So, oh geez, okay, I've gone over time here. I better finish up. But I'll have to debug that next time. So I'll just stop that for now. And I have basically been doing that. I'll just create an item under here to debug. Yep. Staying idle when one of 2 shields broken. Because yeah, the check that I have is not anything to do with broken, it's just if it's not activated. But I should only need one thing to be activated. So, and that would flip it to true. So, oh no, something is activated, yeah. Interesting. Interesting. It shouldn't be hitting that. So yeah, it should just be doing that. I'm just looking at how I spelled it, just in case I got it wrong. And I can copy from here, paste here, just to make sure that I got it exactly right. These are all older errors, aren't they? Should clear all those. Okay. No, I'll press play, but I am going to finish up the stream here. I've made a note, and I need to go get some sleep, so I can grow some new cartilage. This cartilage isn't going to grow itself. Well, it is, but only when I'm sleeping. Well, not only when I'm sleeping, but I need a good sleep. And we got 4 of the 5 blocks when it spawned. Let's get cheap legs and see if that beats lasers. Without that. I think 2 shields is equivalent to 2 entire new robots worth of hit points. Oh, there we go. We're actually getting an exception. Oh. This is written backwards. We're getting the shield structure. Okay, this is just written wrong. If the shield structure is null, then return true. And otherwise, if the hit points, if there is a shield structure but its hit points less than or equal to 0, then that is broken. So yeah. Code wasn't doing its thing because it was not written correctly. It was just hitting an exception, wasn't finishing running that, so it wasn't getting as far as starting the animation it should have. Where are my double shielders? There. Shield power. Versus, well, they don't need such expensive legs, do they? No one really does here because they're not trying to turn. Let's just get the cheap legs and go for some laser power. Shield first laser. Who would win? Get that movement after. Oh, what's happened to your shields? Ooh, that's gotta hurt. Alright, so we just need to see one of these getting the shield destroyed and then not sliding forward. There we are. Yes, looks like double lasers count as double shield. At least the way that these guys are moving. Maybe if they spent a bit more time charging at the enemy and then just flailed at them a little bit. No, that's not going to work. Also, I think if the shields were up a little higher, so they actually caught the laser beams. Uh-oh, we're in trouble here. Jeez. That's just too many lasers. Anyway, I better finish up like I said. I have been David from Fertile Pixel. I could push out a build and it would look exactly like the other build. The only difference would be the code is different. So I better not do that now. But I am in a good position to start adding new stuff, I guess. Such as sensors, which is the next thing after I'm happy that I've got the interface all good. So that's what's in store for next time in, 3 days. I'll see you then. Bye for now.